Ah, so we're living on Thursday, the 18th, 2017, with one of my bowling buddies for 8 years. Bowl every Thursday night together, Tony Sham, Team Inertia, and our results show how good we are.
And I really enjoy being with you, and we have a great time week after week.
Oh, 100%.
I really appreciate you guys, your support. We've got great camaraderie, and it means a lot. It means a lot to me. Yeah.
With regards to like what's gone on recently, Tony, as a teammate, it's really, really hurt me, and hence on Facebook I've even made that comment that surely this shouldn't be done on the social media forum, it should be done face to face. But to be fair, I think it's only really, honestly, truthfully needed that you need to voice what you've needed to voice.
I think one of the problems in the whole thing is that at no stage have I been allowed to give my side of the story. I don't want to dramatize it. That's better. I don't want to dramatize it, but I just want to tell you how the trip went from my perspective.
100%.
Going to Munich for the World Senior Bowling Championships is one of the highlights of my bowling career.
I remember how excited you were that you were going.
I was excited that it was going. I qualified in third. I'd been to Munich and the Dream Bowl before, and I was seriously looking forward to go back there. I knew it would be tough. I was under no illusions, and but when I saw the lineup and I saw the quality of bowlers that were
What
there,
an honour to be there.
it was an honour to be there. So I went along, went through, and the whole thing was a dream. It was a dream. We battled. I don't want to make any bones about it. The bowling was not easy. But to be in that mix, to be in that company is one of the highlights of the bowling career. I got to meet and speak and chat to one of my all-time heroes, Parker Bond III. I got to chat to Carolyn Doran Ballard, Anthony Chiech. I can mention a whole lot of names.
Sure.
And you know, they're in a different level than what we are, but just to be with them was
It's a privilege, massive privilege.
Was a privilege.
And plus you're doing South Africa proud.
Well, you know, the trip was, at one stage I was in doubt whether I could afford to go because it was pretty expensive, but I thought that this might be a once in a lifetime, and I was right. I took what savings I have left in life, and when Val was selected to the team, we put what we had together and we took the plunge and we went.
Yeah.
No regrets whatsoever. While we were bowling, I had on the one day, I had an incident that is about the nearest thing I can think of when I hear it, when I see the report talking about numerous complaints. I don't know where they're coming from. I'm bowling doubles with my doubles partner, and in this particular game, he starts behaving very weirdly. So we're bowling with an Italian team, and the Italian team were serious contenders. They were expecting to finish in the top three. They were strong. And so what my doubles partner started doing is waiting for both the Italians to bowl before we even went up. Which was, there was no reason for it.
But you hadn't started the game like that?
No, we'd started, you know, it was, I think, the second game out of 6. So all of a sudden this one. And then he started, in my view, he started hamming it up. And then he started saying, which you've got to understand, he started being corny, he started saying, the first rule of bowling, don't bowl against a split. The second rule of bowling, remember rule number 1. Now I want to tell you, at that time, it was a bit like bowling tonight. There were a lot of splits. And so we'd wait for both of them to bowl. And then he got up, and then there was a split on the right-hand side.
So we don't bowl.
Put his ball down, wait. Then he gets up to bowl, and there's a split on the left-hand side.
So we don't bowl.
So we don't bowl. And so eventually,
It's actually out of rhythm.
I had no rhythm. I was suffering, and because then I still had to go and bowl after that.
Sure.
So it got completely out of hand. I'm looking around. We had no team manager around. There was no support around. There was just the two of us. Everybody else was somewhere in the distance. And I was looking for a team manager just to say, listen, speak to this guy, tell him to get him in.
100%.
Eventually, in about the 9th frame of the game, I spoke to him loudly. I said, why don't you just get on with the game? Why don't you just bowl?
Takes you out of rhythm.
And he gave us what I consider to be some lame excuse about the bowler standing on the approach with his foot over the bowl. Anyway, at the end of the game, I felt bad that I don't like to have animosity. I said, listen, I'm sorry for raising my voice. We shook hands. He said everything's okay. Our next game, which you can go and watch on YouTube, it's there, was completely different. We got back into a rhythm. We had a good game, and I never thought anything of it. Apparently, and I can only surmise because nobody's actually ever come and said this is what's happened.
So you've actually not ever had a chance to have a hearing or nothing?
I'll come to that now. Apparently, that was the issue and there were I want to tell you there were no witnesses because there were none of my teammates around at the time. Now, they've said I'm difficult to bowl with. I was shouting at my teammates. Amber, you bowled with me for 8 years. That's insane.
Myself and Vane on same
team. I want to tell you that right now, as we sit here, I'm the current holder of 3 titles. I have SA doubles scratch with Wynand. I'm the holder of that title. I have SA trios with Wynand and Leon.
And it's Wynand that's in our Thursday night teams too.
And I have SA doubles masters, myself and Eddie Drunicki. Don't tell me I don't know how to bowl with partners. In my time, I have bowled with, besides these bowlers, I have shared the lanes with just some of the names that I can think of. Francois Lowe, Sean van der Berg, Ursula Eckermans, Gay Mac. Yeah. I've been around. Nobody ever had Ryan Hain, Quinton Hayward. Nobody ever had a problem bowling with me, but now it's been made out that I'm such a monster to bowl with. But anyway, that incident came and went, and I never, honestly, I thought it was so minor, I never gave it another thought.
Got on with the bowling.
And got on with the bowling. Now, on the last day of bowling, the men were bowling team, and I got a bit mixed up with the time. So I arrived, some arguments say 5 minutes late, some say 2 minutes late. I arrived exactly as I went to get my ball. Practice at that moment, as I got back to my team, practice had started. I didn't deliberately do it. I made a mistake.
What's your nature? You ever been late before?
I put on my shoes, I got on the practice, and I never thought anything of it. Apparently, that's one of the things that has been mentioned. You've seen it. Been mentioned.
I read it on Facebook.
Well, if arriving, let's call it 5 minutes. If arriving 5 minutes late for practice was a thing, I plead guilty to that. I simply got in a bit of a tiz. I was busy with something.
Wasn't done on purpose. It was purely accidental.
The last event that we took part in was the highlight of the bowling trip, because for me, from the bowling side, because we bowled out three games of team, and then the men were finished, and then the ladies had to come and bowl their final 3 games, and obviously my wife was there, so I was watching them, and as I was watching the ladies, I saw that they were battling. They were really battling. It wasn't easy. I must just tell you, conditions were not easy.
Yeah.
So I looked around. There was nobody around. So I went and I took the manager's chair. And I just sat there and encouraged the ladies and spoke. At that level, you can't coach somebody.
No.
And I just sat there. And they set a goal to finish in the top 40. Now, the top 40 might not sound that flash, but they were lying in the bottom place, 48. And in those 3 games, they really pulled their finger and bowled, and they actually finished 40th. They bowled. Yeah. If you go and watch those games on YouTube, they really bowled well. And so when bowling was finished, I was on a high. I thought, well, my bowling wasn't that great, but at least in a small way, I helped the ladies,
finish in the 40th.
Finish better than they might have. And so on that day, bowling had finished. That night, we went to the banquet, and there once again I had a brilliant chance to chat with Parker Bowen, and Robbie had loaded a video of his 1997 final, and he had this huge high hairstyle, Robbie Govender. So I said, Parker, I just watched, my mate just loaded your final 1997 and you had this highest. I said, yeah, all these close finishes, you were with Jason Couch, and it went right down to the last frame, it was close, and he just sneaked on. And he joked with me, he said, yeah, all these close finishes have...
That's like a massive memory.
And he had a photo there, and he signed a photo, personalised that.
Yeah.
And so, and I met a guy from Sweden who'd taken part in the World Cup in 2011, when I was a marshal there, and it was fantastic. And so we went home. The next morning, Val and I went to Salzburg in Austria for 2.5 days. Oh, Amber, I've told you, Salzburg is beautiful. It is beautiful beyond measure. So we stayed there. We stayed there for 2.5 days, and then we had to come back to Munich to meet up with the team to come home. In hindsight, when we came back to Munich, it felt like we were walking into a funeral. Nobody was saying anything. Everybody was quiet. Everybody.
Sure.
Look, I just thought maybe it's a downer because now it's over.
We finished. Yeah.
We flew home. We said goodbye. The next week I came to league. You asked me how was the trip. One of the highlights.
I remember that Thursday.
I was buzzing. I was absolutely buzzing. I had no idea that anybody had any complaints. About a week later, Vaughan Williams asks us to submit a confidential report. I want to load that report somewhere because I don't understand the word confidential. I loaded a report. I said, this is one of the highlights of my career. It was an honor for me to represent my country.
Yeah.
Yes, we battled on the lanes. Ideally, it would have been great if we had a manager with us, but I understand that we couldn't afford that.
Financials.
It cost us a lot of money. Would I change anything? Not at all. It was an honor for me to be
100%.
there. And so, life goes on. I'm starting to prepare for Central Gauteng Open and for
SA Trios.
SA Trios got cancelled due to lack of participation, which I consider pathetic. And then I'm carrying on as normal. And one Sunday afternoon, Paul phones me and he says, Tony, I've done what I can, but your suspended sentence has kicked in. You're banned for a year. What? What are you talking about? I didn't even know a complaint had been submitted. I was so in the dark. What are you talking about? Even after he told me that, I still thought, no, this can't be.
Yeah.
Surely if there was a complaint, somebody would give me the right to.
Heads up or
and so another week goes by, and a week later, on my birthday, on my 63rd birthday, I get a letter from Vaughan Williams saying, Eddie Drunicki and Paul Pasekni have decided that you were out of line and your suspended sentence, which I'll explain to you in a minute, has kicked in. What are you talking about? You could have hit me with a feather. I had no idea that this was... I just had absolutely no idea that this was going down. Anyway, you could ask me why weren't you allowed a hearing. So I have to refer to an earlier incident when I was banned by Vaughan Williams after the disagreement I had with him at SA Singles. And then eventually I went to Seskok, and eventually we found a compromise solution where I would face a hearing with Eddie and Paul, and that they would judge. And so on that day of this hearing, I regret having the hearing because I could have gone to Seskok and got away with that. They'd not fulfilled it. I could have done it without the hearing. Yeah. But I submitted to the hearing because I thought of all the people in bowling, these are the two men that I trust, and so they conferred and they decided, listen, we say commute your sentence to 1 year suspended sentence. But if there are any further transgressions, they will be the sole arbiters of it, and you will not be allowed to make any further representations, which is why technically they were quite within their rights to meet privately and ban me, and I had no recourse. But Amber, I'll put it to you. Is there not a bit of decency? Do you not bring somebody in to hear their side of the story?
Exactly. How do you know it's not obscured?
So I went public with a thing and it caused a bit of a furore. Some of my teammates, you've seen the post, some of my teammates who were on the tour with me, and not my wife, completely independent teammates, said they never saw anything that was worthy of a ban. But their testimony was not valid because apparently the people who had complained had filled in written reports and a verbal report or whatever. Look, I would have filed a report, but I had no idea that anything was going down. I didn't even try and defend myself. So yeah, on my 63rd birthday, I'm banned for a year, and I had a bit of humor about it. I thought I will only be able to bowl again when I'm 64. I thought of the Beatles song.
Yeah.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? So I've come to terms with the ban. I've stopped fighting it. I'm going to have to live with it. A year. You know how much I enjoy the game, but I'm not a one-dimensional person. I love CrossFit, I love marketing, I'm active in my church. I have many other areas of interest. I will miss the bowling. I don't want to make it. I love the game. But,
the passion.
But I'm going to have to just sit it out.
Did you find like from that social media sort of aspect of you voicing your opinion, there was sort of people coming up with like, oh, Tony, are you wanting to like start your own bowling federation?
Well, one of the accusations that was really leveled against me is, do you want to start your own bowling federation?
That wasn't
I don't know
your
where
aim. That wasn't your aim.
I want to just state categorically that I support Tebessa and that I've been loyal to Tebessa. Amber, I've served Tebessa for nearly 20 years. I've been the president of 2 provinces. I've been on that committee non-stop for 15 years.
I mean, how many times have you like actually promoted new bowlers at league?
Still, even now, if there's somebody I try and promote the game, it's in me. I don't want to say what a great guy I am. That's just the way
your passion for the sport.
I am. Now, I don't want to start a new federation. Do I think that this federation is doing a decent job? It's no secret. I think they're doing a pathetic job. They're letting the game run down, and the only time they have any efficiency, SA trios cancelled, qualifiers for the World Cup, not an incomplete field, and then the winners end up having to pay their own way. I don't want to go.
Well, Tony, I think at the end of the day, figures speak for themselves.
The only time they do anything with efficiency is disciplining me. There, it's on the button. Everything's done according to the book. Nobody misses a beat, and the game goes down the toilet at the same time. So be it. You know what? I'm out of the loop. You guys, you Tebessa members are gonna have to live. As I said in my reply, I hope that when I come back into the game in a year, when I'm 64, that it'll be a better environment than what it is now. We can debate it.
Yeah. I think to be fair, the figures speak for themselves.
Well, it's not. This is not I'm not here to rant and rave. But Amber, I just want to tell you that not only do I complain about what I think is not right, but I've written in depth about the way I think we should go. My Facebook page, The Future of Tenpin Bowling.
Well, you did that other Facebook.
Is
Tenpin
lists the way forward that I think that I still think that Tenpin Bowling can be saved, but it's getting harder and harder. As I said, the patient is getting sicker and sicker, and it's just it gets worse. But I'm not here to rant and rave.
No.
And I'm not here I've openly, what I've said openly.
It's truthful.
Take it, leave it, use it.
It's truthful.
Use it, don't use it.
And to be fair, Tony, just as everybody else voiced their opinion, so you've given yours.
So you can ask me on the weekend. There's the VW tournament.
I believe you're not playing.
Are you participating? Because it's not a Tebessa tournament.
I believe so.
Yes, my entry was placed.
Oh, so you did enter?
I entered, but I was unceremoniously in front of the whole bowling told that my entry has been revoked. It was embarrassing. It was really embarrassing.
I remember that night.
Was revoked, and that I'm not allowed to enter. You know what? So be it.
But she's still going to come and support Val.
Well,
Val's bowling.
you know, I don't want to. She's bowling particularly well, and I don't want to be a handbrake on her. And so, you know what? I'll be here.
You'll come here to support her.
Apparently, I was told that the reason why I can't bowl is that there are other bowlers who refuse to participate if I was on the lanes. Well, you know what?
So be it.
Help me. Lord, help me. If anybody has that attitude, you know, there's a huge irony here, Amber. You've bowled with me, and I've not always been. I've made some problems for myself. There was a time I thought it was a legitimate part of the game to church opposition. But for the last 18 months, I've worked that out of my game.
But to be fair, Tony, we're all human. Every single person
you
is
know
not
me.
perfect.
You know me better than me.
No,
I've stopped
no
complaining.
person is ever an oil
I've
painting.
stopped complaining about the Brooklyn strikes. I accept that that's just part
Yeah,
of the
but
game.
nobody's oil painting.
I'm not trying to book or put the listen. The irony is that at the same time that I've cleaned up my act, I've been more disciplined.
100%. And actually, why would we be bowling with you the many years that we
Well,
have?
you know, I bowl with you and Raymond for 8 years. On
Look
a
at your
Monday
other
night,
team.
I bowl with
Different
Ursula,
characters. None of us are the same characters.
and Robbie Govender. We've been going for a long time. We have a
Exactly.
great vibe. We never, ever... Cheers, Graham. We never, ever have a problem.
No.
So if somebody
I
has a
think it
problem
speaks
with
for
my
itself.
behaviour, so be it. I'm over it. You know, I'm not going to try and defend myself. If that's the way you
It's the
feel...
passion for the sport, Tony.
If that's
The
the way you
complete passion
feel,
for the sport.
then, you know, kick me out of the tournament. So be it. I can't fight this ban. I have no legal standing for fighting it. One of the accusations... Cheers, Jenny.
Keep on.
See you, eh? Cheers.
Bye, Amber.
Ciao, ciao. Have a good evening.
One of the accusations is that because I was behaving badly, that I could be sent to Seskok, and that my ban could be either a lifetime or a 5-year ban. I would love to go in front of Seskok. I would go in front of Seskok tomorrow. Why? Because I believe with all my heart that in a free and fair hearing, I would, with
You'd have a
proper
fair, you'd at
witnesses,
least have a fair decision and a fair outcome.
I would be vindicated.
Yeah.
It's never gonna. I'd love it. I'd love it. Make it happen. I'll be there.
I will be there to support you.
I'll be there tomorrow. I don't want to disrupt the game. I want to build the game. I'm not here to
love for the passion of
split the
sport.
game apart. But for some reason, for 3.5 years, ever since the new presidency came in, I've been earmarked. I've been pursued without a
Doubt.
break.
Yeah.
And you know what can I think I've said it. I think I'm a big trophy that somebody wants on their wall. So I brought this man down. Never mind that the game is where it is, but we took him down. We you know what? I don't even want to think about it. Whatever. I'm just going on with my life. Getting on with my life.
And the year goes quick, Tony, and the amount of tournaments that are out there nowadays.
You know,
they're
sometimes
so
I think, listen,
cancelled.
I don't have that many years left to take one of my years now. But you know what? So be it.
So be it.
I'm strong. I'm a young 63.
Exactly.
I'll be a young 64 when I get.
Exactly. And we'll still win our Thursday night leagues.
We'll win the Thursday
And you'll
night
still win
league.
your Monday night leagues.
And I'll win SA doubles with
Exactly.
Wynand in
In a
the
year's
year
time.
2018 or
Because he's already going to play.
whatever.
18
Because
to 19.
I'm still competitive, and I love being competitive. And yeah, what can we say?
All we can say
Would
is
I-
that we have loved bowling with you. Been with you
I
all
want to
these
say
years.
the final word. Would I change anything? If you told me 3 months ago that this was all going to happen, would I? No, I would have gone. Because that experience was so rich for me that it pales into insignificance with being
The outcome, yeah.
with being rejected from tournaments and that for a year. I wouldn't have missed it
For the
for
world.
anything.
Yeah,
Nobody can take this away from me.
exactly.
It's my final words. Nobody can take this away. It was an honor for me to be at World Championships, World Senior Championships. 2, it was an honor for me to represent my country at the highest level, and nobody, nothing, no rulings with it will take that
Ever
away from me.
all of the experience.
So thanks for listening to me. I just wanted to get this. I just want to put it out there.
Your side of the story.
What from my perspective, and I'm sure there are going to be those who are going to say, "Oh, you're dreaming. It wasn't like that. There was this. There were numerous complaints of behaviour." I don't know what those complaints are, and this is my side of events.
Exactly. You have a clear conscience.
My wife was with me. She saw it the same way. There were other team members who were on the tour.
YouTube's on there.
They saw it that way. Hell,
Not more you can do.
Life happens.
Life goes on.
Life happens. Cheers, John. We'll see you.
Here this weekend.
No, I've been kicked out of the tour, but anyway. Okay.
Ciao, have a good evening.
So there you go. Amber, thanks to you, Reinhard, Robbie, Ursula. You guys restore my faith in the people.
The passion of the
around
sport. I mean, all
bowling.
we want to do is see the sport grow.
Sometimes one of the biggest losses that I've experienced is the loss of, the loss of friendship from people that the people who were at that hearing. I've been on 6 overseas tours, each one of them. We come a long way. And the part that hurts is that nobody said anything to me. Nobody said this is. Nobody said these are the complaints that have been brought against you, and it hurts. I won't lie.
100%.
I won't lie. And some people had chosen who they believe without asking me how did you see things. And unfortunately, they were the people who had the power to rule against me.
The decision that you
You
got.
know what? So be it.
That's
We
it.
carry on with
Life's
life.
too short, eh?
We'll go on.
And enjoy your league. Bowl your league, enjoy your
my
league.
I'll still support bowling to the max. I still support my province. You know what? One day I'm going to tell all. One day I'm going to tell you why I will never bowl at Eastern Gauteng again. I want to tell you what public humiliation I went through back in 2006. The last time I ever put on the red and blue shirt. And I'm really grateful to my province, Central Gauteng, that they've given me a home. And I'm a loyal and faithful Central Gauteng member, and I won't change. And when the time is right, I want to represent the red and white, because that's become
Part of your blood.
That's become my home. And I appreciate the home that they've given to me. I don't take these things lightly.
They're in your heart.
Thank you for giving me the time. I really appreciate it. And
We still love you.
I'll see you next week.